to the No Bull Podcast, or welcome back to the No Bull Podcast. I am your host, Brianna Bull, and I'm bringing you everything basketball. Because if you know bull, you know ball. Let's get into it. So this is episode 40. Welcome. I'm so glad to be here with you all. Grateful as always. We have a jam-packed session today, and my voice, Tulip said, "How's your voice, Queen?" Tulip, my voice is better. A lot of improvements. I drank a lot of tea. Hold on, look. Venti. If you ever care about what my favorite tea is, it's from Starbucks. It's the honey citrus mint tea. Yep. Anyway, okay, let's get into basketball because that's what we are here for. I'm glad to see the chat is lit, and I want to just kick it off right away. Like, let's not waste any time. So, first on the docket is the W Report, and that is where I bring you WNBA news that's current, happening now around the league. And now that the season's winding down, tonight is we're in the playoffs. It's round 2, well, the semifinals, and we have some breaking news brought to you for. I'm kind of shocked. I'm not shocked about one, but I'm shocked about the other. So let's start off with coaching and the changes that have been made thus far. And I hope there'll be more changes to come because I don't want anybody to think this one coach didn't get off scot easy. But let's talk about the 2 coaches and the adjustments that have already been made before the season has wrapped. New York Liberty just let go of Sandy Brondello. Okay, she won them their championship last year, led them to the championship last year for the New York Liberty, and today she's out. So, and I mean, they just lost. I'm shocked. I'm genuinely surprised. She was the coach for the WNBA All-Star game. She obviously had a lot of respect going into the season. So to see them get rid of her indicates to me that New York Liberty might be ready to shake some things up, not just with Sandy, but with their players as well. So I want to spend some time diving into their contracts, and maybe, who knows, next stream I'll bring something to the table and talk more about it. But if you have your comments, obviously drop them, have the conversation. Come on, get active. You know, today we're talking ball. And then, so that shocked me. I'll be honest. I was like, oh, did not see that coming. But for the Seattle Storm coach, Noelle Quinn, bye-bye. We saw that coming. I mentioned that in my last stream, but I just wanted to give that last update on those 2 firings, or we'll say contract ending, contracts not being renewed. Sandy got fired. Noelle, her contract was up, I think. So those are 2 big names that are exiting the sidelines. So who's next up? And we'll be on the watch for who will lead this New York Liberty team and the Seattle Storm team heading into the 2026 WNBA season. In other news, I wanted to talk to you about the USA's women basketball coach. Oh gosh, what is her name? I'm literally drawing a blank. Yes. It's a black lady. So yay, let's celebrate that. Because with Noelle Quinn exiting, there are no black women coaches currently in the WNBA lineup. So we're like, all right. Side eye. But the new USA for the 2028 Olympics, her name is Kara Lawson. She was the head coach of Duke's women's basketball team, and she's been named the head coach of the USA Basketball Women's National League. Now, this isn't really W Report news, but I wanted to just bring some light to black women coaches. And Brittany Griner, she posted a congratulations to Kara Lawson. So obviously the women's basketball pros will be playing under her. So eventually in 3 years, we'll see. So it's just really cool. Glad we got a black woman leading that. And Duke, shout out to Duke. We got some Duke fans in the chat. Let me check the chat. Chat is lit tonight. Yeah, we definitely got some Duke fans in here. I hope. Okay. Let's keep going. In other news for the W Report, we have obviously the WNBA awards were announced So make sure you go check out my last live stream. I talk about that, or just pull up any article and you'll see that. And then I wanted to talk about WNBA records that are being broken still. The season hasn't wrapped up, and I wanted to point out some top records that I thought were very fascinating. For example, how the WNBA has rewrote history with attendance. Okay, it topped over 2.5 million people in attendance across the board this season, and that's the most ever in a single season. So typically the viewership is averaging 1.3 million across games on ESPN, and that's up 6%. And even without Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, the big names that everybody was claiming, is the reason that people are watching, the viewership has not only sustained, it has continued to increase. So shout out to the WNBA making great strides on their entertainment, on keeping people in the seats and attracting more and more fans. So I wanted to point that out. And then pretty much we're not going to stay too long on this topic because we have a lot to talk about today with the WNBA playoffs and then also some NBA. All right. So real quick, let me just check the chat, see what y'all talking about. I kind of Chicago Bayou Tigers said, I kind of agree with the firing in New York because they underperform with the talent that they have. And someone had put that, I think Chicago Cheetah had mentioned that in one of the polls. Go check out my channel. There's a ton of polls there. There's a quiz. I always like to post to keep y'all entertained throughout the day if you're scrolling. But yeah, I think that this year it was interesting to see. I'm kind of surprised that they fired the coach. I thought they would just start making trades with what they had, like get rid of Natasha Cloud. But again, this is just me going off a contract. Not saying Natasha isn't great, but I felt like as a point guard, they needed someone else at the helm that wasn't going to be so hesitant in their decision making and forcing as much as she did. In my opinion, she dribbled the air out of the ball. So I'm surprised that they're doing that, but that just shows me that New York is in a rebuild now. So they didn't get it right this season, and it's time to see what they do with someone new at the helm. And also, what stars are going to stay? Who's going to get dropped on waivers? So much to come. But yeah, I'm not surprised. The Seattle, yeah, it was time. It was definitely time. What's up, Dame? Welcome to the chat. Kayla Thornton had a crazy role on that Liberty. All right. So we're going to wrap up on this segment, and we are going to move on to the WNBA playoffs because the game kicks off in just a few hours here, about an hour and 40 minutes or so. The first game starts at 7:30 p.m. and that will be the Phoenix Mercury. Phoenix Mercury versus the Minnesota Lynx. They play first, and then the second game is going to be the Indiana Fever and the Las Vegas Aces. So I want to recap game one and break that down. So let's start off with the Lynx and the Mercury, right? Because it wasn't just hustle and smart coaching. At halftime, Cheryl Reeve, although I can't stand the media comments that she makes off the court, on the court, I appreciate Cheryl Reeve because she saw the danger of Phoenix carving what they were doing in the paint. And so notably thanks to drives by Alyssa Thomas. And we already know Phoenix Mercury is the type of team that makes it happen in the paint. They're huge guards and they find comfort inside of there. And by halftime, you saw the adjustments made because by third quarter, it got real nasty. They dialed up the defensive pressure in the paint, and it allowed Phoenix fewer entries to the rim, and it dared them to shoot from three, which they didn't shoot very well from the three, just shooting 3 from 23 from the 3-point land. Very, very, it was awful. But on the flip side, for the Mercury, so we talked about how the Lynx, it was pretty much their defensive presence that shook up the Mercury. But for Mercury on the offensive end, I think they need a lot more for DeWanna Bronner coming off the bench there. She plays at least 20 minutes a game. Last game she got 25 minutes per game, and she didn't find any success in her shots. She was 0 for 4. Like, she needs to take more shots than that, especially playing 25 minutes. And I might give DeWanna maybe too much credit, but I've seen the energy that she brings to the team, the attitude and the toughness and the physicality that they are going to need going into game 2 versus this fundamentally sound, strategic, very well coached Minnesota Lynx team. Like, that's what you're going to bring to the game when you don't let match up coach wise. You got to bring the physicality and the aggression. So and also take the pressure off of Copper and Alyssa Thomas. They cannot do it all by themselves. I'm not going to say Satu didn't contribute where she could, but obviously she needs to shoot better from the 3. They need to find more opportunities to get them better shots in the 3. Offensively, what I noticed about this Phoenix Mercury team, and this is where my hesitation was earlier, where I had the New York Liberty upsetting them. I don't believe in their offense because they settle for one-on-one basketball, kind of similar to the Aces, and we'll talk about that. But sometimes I find it seems like they like to push the tempo. If they don't get anything off the push of the tempo, which we know Minnesota Lynx have great transition defense, if Phoenix Mercury pushes off the tempo and they don't get anything, then it's like one pass, now let's just someone try to score it. They will find a lot more success. And it seemed like they were doing that kind of like the middle of the season there, where they were really moving the ball around more often and getting that extra pass off, like, and creating shots for people like Sammy Whitcomb or Satu, who not really going to create it by themselves. So if they want to come back in game 2, they're going to need more from Sabali and Bonner. And they have to be a little bit more decisive on how they want to show up offensively, whether it's being the aggressor, being a consistent finisher, or spacing the floor and taking the shot and knocking it down. I will say, though, and my lower third question is, I will say for this Las Vegas Aces, I will say I got distracted. For the Phoenix Mercury as well, they need to get to the foul line more. I wasn't understanding why what the struggle was for them to get to the foul line. And I kind of got ahead of myself, but which adjustments do Phoenix need to even the series? Like, what adjustments do they need to make to even it up tonight and make it 1-1? Or they're going to go back to Phoenix Mercury 0-2. And one of the adjustments that they need to continue, again, being aggressive, but get to the free throw line. It is very important that you get to the free throw line. Only one person got to the stripe the last game, and that was Satu Sabali, and it was twice. That is unacceptable. Nobody else on the team got to the free throw line? Come on now. They need to tighten up in that area. Those little 1-2 points, they add up and they make a huge difference down the stretch. Again, just a quick run back. Some adjustments that need to be made is more offensive aggression for the Phoenix Mercury. If they're taking away your options in the paint, then find ways to get other players open and continue to move the ball around. Maybe slow your tempo down. There's nothing wrong with that. Pushing your tempo, it might work for you, but I'm starting to see it's working against you, Phoenix Mercury. So maybe consider slowing the ball down and don't rely too heavily on Copper and Thomas to make it happen. You have other all-stars around you. Satu is an all-star. So we'll see. We'll see how that shakes out tonight. What are y'all thoughts? Tulip says, you see team ball, ISO ball, hardened ball doesn't work when we've seen it throughout history. That's why some teams are better without some talents. I agree. Sometimes I look at a team and I would rather take like a fundamentally sound team where everybody knows their role and they're more willing like to pass and make it happen as a team, kind of like the Spurs vibe, than just seeing like a couple all-stars go one-on-one the whole time. I mean, it works for some people, but it doesn't work for the Phoenix Mercury. It's not going to work in playoffs. So, yeah. Let's so and then as far as what I expect for tonight, so let's go into the odds and statistics and what the house is showing for that game tonight. Again, the Phoenix Mercury visit the Minnesota Lynx. So they're hosting them home. Minnesota Lynx are hosting them home, and they're up 1-0 right now. The odds of the house, they have Minnesota Lynx favored to win -7. So -7 plus 7 on those odds. And they play at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. Last game, they lost to the Minnesota Lynx 82-69. Okay, I have my prediction. I got the Phoenix Mercury winning tonight. Okay, I do. I do believe that they're going to make adjustments. What I think we're going to see the same thing. I don't think Phoenix Mercury, the Minnesota Lynx need to make any of adjustments, but I do think the Phoenix Mercury are going to take more shots tonight. And hopefully these women are going to knock them down. So, and I'm hoping that they made adjustments on their pathways to get into the paint. That's what I'm going to say on that one, because a lot of my energy really wants to focus in on the Indiana Fever versus the Las Vegas Aces. I'm really excited about this one because it's like, is it momentum or mirage? Is this an illusion or are they really on to something? I mean, are the haters still saying that they getting by like this is all luck, or are people really believing and buying into this Indiana Fever team potentially making it to the finals? Or is it just like, okay, they got their little one, but Asia and the Aces are about to take over. Okay, let's talk about game 2. So, well, let's do a recap of game 1. So, obviously Las Vegas Aces need to fix a lot of things. Well, not a lot. They need to tweak some things so they don't risk going down 0-2 in this series. So the Fever, and I said it in the last live stream. Go check it out. I said this. I said what the Fever do is push tempo, and the Aces are a slow tempo team, and it usually works out to their favor. But last night it did. I mean, the other night, Sunday night, it did not. So the Fever exposed the Aces with pace because the Fever had energy. And by the third quarter, the Las Vegas Aces they let the Fever have their way with them. The third quarter really won the game altogether. And Wilson, she wasn't as automatic. She shot 6 for 22 from the field. They were pressure defense. Almost every single look she took was contested. And it was too many moments where Indiana was making her work to even catch the ball. Shout out to the Indiana Fever defense. And it left the rest of the squad to have to carry the weight. And Jewel Lloyd didn't show up. Chelsea Gray didn't show up. Nobody was really showing up. Nobody else was showing up. So I think some coaching adjustments that are non-negotiable. I made some notes. Vegas has to find ways to loosen the defensive pressure Indiana's putting on Wilson. And maybe because the isolation, as good as she is, it's just not working right now with the pressure that Indiana has. Who knows? We don't know how game 2 could be. The Las Vegas Aces, I believe they're hosting Indiana. Yeah, they're hosting Indiana tonight. So home court advantage. We'll see what that, if that even matters. They didn't have to travel nowhere. Maybe they got their necessary rest. And then they need quicker rotations, especially in transition defense, because the Fever hurt them when the Aces weren't able to get back. And that, I think, before they had this 16-game win streak, we saw low energy from them. Why are they falling into this slump now? I don't know what Becky Hammon had done before the 16-game win streak to get them on track, but she need to bring that juju. She need to bring that juice back. She need to get those flowing back again, because they're starting to look a little like first half of the season aces, not second half of the season aces. And then the bench needs to produce more consistently. Also, Melissa Smith. Why was Natasha Howard and Aaliyah Boston having her with their ways with you? No way, Natasha Howard. Her ears must have been burning, because I was talking big crap about Natasha, saying she ain't doing nothing. Shorty came out last game with a double-double. And Nalissa was like, Nalissa, one of the main reasons I was excited for you on this Las Vegas Aces team was because I felt like you brought consistent defense and aggressive offense. So I'm very curious to see why they were having their way with you in the paint last night. Maybe your ears could start burning and you'll have a good game tonight. I sure hope so. But when Asia's shot isn't dropping, something gotta give. But game 2 at home is huge. They gotta restore that belief in this team that people generated overtime in the second half of the season. And they have to make sure they close down on Indiana shooters. If you're gonna take Kelsey Mitchell away, okay, like if you're gonna try to prevent, and also she was having her way too, but if you're gonna take her shot away, if in my opinion, I'm not saying let it live with Lexi, but at the same time, I would ease up my pressure on her on the 3-point lane and focus a lot of the pressure on Kelsey and make me a believer in Lexi's shot. She only hitting about one of them things a game. She'll take about 3. But that's what I would try to do. But if they, and it was weird. It was kind of like almost like they were like baiting Kelsey Mitchell to show them how great she is. How many 30-point games has she had this season? Why does it feel like the way they be playing against her, she still gotta be like proving herself? Or is it really coming this easy for this young lady? You feel what I'm saying? Let me see what y'all say. Who you got taking game 2? Chat lit. We got, I'm gonna say Fever in 4. Tool said Asia won't have a game this bad again this series, so I expect this to go to 5 games. I think, and then also Becky Hammon should use her bench to an advantage, at least for bodies, for rotation. If you're going to take the route on doubling down on people, if you're going to double on Kelsey, or at least front her in some type of capacity, you have the resources and advantage. Why is there a team who's depleted on a roster outworking y'all? Make that make sense to me, Las Vegas Aces. Make it make sense to me. Why are you getting outran by a team that only got like 7 people deep, 6 people deep, low key? You feel what I'm saying? And then it's not mathing up. The math is not mathing. Just checking out the comments. I really enjoy and appreciate everyone pitching in and sharing, having a conversation with me. It's always a pleasure to hear your thoughts and to talk ball with y'all. And just remember, if you know bull, you know ball. Let's check out. So again, the odds for tonight, the house still has the Las Vegas Aces winning -9, -9. I mean, that says a lot. A lot of people got faith in Asia. I do too. I got the Las Vegas Aces winning tonight as well. Not because I don't think the Indiana Fever aren't a good team, but it's going to take, if Kelsey Mitchell does her 30-point game again, we still got to see something from Natasha. We still got to see something from Lexi, and obviously like Aaliyah. But I'm saying I said it in the last stream. It really comes down to what those players do that really make the Indiana Fever good or great. You see what I'm saying? And they are known to be wild cards. They are known to have good games every once in a while. And Lord forbid Kelsey don't shoot well tonight. You see what I'm saying? So, and they only managed to beat the Las Vegas Aces by, oh no, they beat them by a lot. 80, yeah, they beat them by a lot. Indiana Fever came out on top 89-73 in the last game. It ain't gonna go down like that. It could either be like a blowout with the bases winning, or it's gonna be a close game. But I definitely have the Las Vegas Aces winning tonight. Okay, how are we on time? You good? I don't even know how much time it's been. Let's keep going. Okay. So overall, for the playoffs tonight, because I believe in Becky Hammon as a coach, I respect Stephanie White, but I would take Becky Hammon over Stephanie any day of the week. And I take Asia over Kelsey Mitchell any day of the week. Asia is the GOAT. I do believe tonight we'll see more consistency from Joel Lloyd. I also believe that hopefully they talked to Chelsea Gray and told Chelsea Gray, Shorty, every time you touch the ball, you do not have to score. You can do other things. Okay? So we'll see. But if they don't fix these things, game 1 is probably going to end up being the blueprint from Indiana and not a wake-up call for the Aces. So hopefully it was a wake-up call. They done knocked the dust out their eyes. They right there to the finals, and maybe they'll be able to edge past Indiana. Or will Indiana continue to be a wild card surprise for us and shock the whole league and make it to the finals? We shall see. Okay, let's move on to our next topic, which is the Houston Rockets. Okay. And if you are like me and you get breaking news, whether it's through Instagram, your app, whatever, then you will know Houston just got the worst news, probably not of their that they can expect, but to get bad news before the season even starts is egregious. Fred VanVleet tore his ACL, and sources say he is likely out for the 2025-2026 NBA season. And that's a heavy hit, okay? Especially after the summer when they gave him a 2-year, $50 million extension because they had just signed KD. They got rid of Jalen. They got rid of Dylan. And they signed KD. So they're like, and Fred was already on free agency. And it's like, matter of fact, Fred, we're going to go ahead and keep you and stay. Because Fred has been playing amazing for this Houston Rockets team. I think it was such a great trade that they made 2 seasons ago. His shot has improved, his playmaking ability. He's like just a consistent veteran guard. And he's the player commissioner president. So he obviously has a lot of respect in the league. So he's just very valuable on and off the court. And now it's just going to be off the court. That's another big player going into this season with a huge injury. And it just keeps adding to the list. It's sad. But anyway, I just think he was the type of guy who like tightened up their second chances, and he made smart decisions in the late game moments. And now that's all gone, probably for the whole season. If not, most likely the entire season. So now here's where I wanted to focus on, because with this news of them departing, I immediately start thinking, what options, what type of pivots would this team need to make or could make? What were the possibilities that they could see? Because obviously KD came to this team. They finished number 2 in the Western last year, and they lost to the Warriors in round 1. They always lose to the Warriors, but it's like KD obviously came to this team with some hope that they would be championship contenders. And with Fred VanVleet now gone, it's like, has that hope disappeared? Or do you think that they have the good enough coaching, front house, front office, whatever, to pivot this loss and maybe capitalize on what they already have? And I say that because I looked up their cap and they're in the negative cap space. I didn't go into the details of like each contract, but I was just starting to think like, what the heck could they do? Now, before we get into the cap space, let's talk about what they already have, because Reed Shepherd was a rookie last season, and then he had his his numbers were decent. He wasn't like no scrub, but he was still obviously playing like a rookie, turning the ball over a lot. He's a point guard, but he wasn't generating that many assists, and his 3-point shot needed a lot of work. Now, he has promise though. He still has that shot on the wing, but he didn't really take on a lot of that pressure as much as we would need him to if he were to be the starting point guard for this team heading into this new season, right? And I'm just wondering if they're going to even start him, or are they going to continue to maybe pivot? Because the only other guards they have on their team is Aaron Holiday, point guards. There's Aaron Holiday, Reed Shepherd, and then I think they got someone from the Celtics, Vance. I don't know. I think. And then so that's what they have for like point guards. Of course you can always use a guard in that position, but I'm really curious to see like where the coaching adjustments, the role clarities, and the buy and all like their cap space, all of that really does matter. And so with them in negative cap space, wait, I don't want to go to cap. Sorry. With Reed Shepherd. Okay. I want to talk about his summer league performance, because it could maybe bode well or give some people more hope about this Houston Rockets team. So Shepherd played 52 regular season games for the Rockets. So he only missed 20 something. That's not bad. Or he didn't play in 20 something or 30 something games. He averaged 4.4 points, 1.5 rebounds, and 1.4 assists per game. His shooting splits weren't great. Like I said, he shot 35% from the field, 33% from the three, and then 81% from the free throw. And he was only playing around 12 to 13 minutes per game. Now, fast forward to his Summer League 2025 highlights. I saw his name a lot. I saw his name pop up a lot on the articles I was pulling for Summer League. He had standout games. For example, the Clippers. He had 28 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, and 3 blocks over 33 minutes. So he was given more time, and he did something with it. And he made 6 out of 15 threes in that game. Then against the Pistons, he scored 18. I mean, his shooting got really sloppy, and then he was turning the ball over a lot. So again, he's still probably trying to get comfortable with all this minute exposure that he's getting. But overall, in the Summer League, he averaged 23 points per game, shooting 16 of 44 from the field goal in the 2 games that he did play. And his defense stood out in steals and even in blocks. His only downside from Summer League expose, is that the right word? I don't know. His 3-point percentage dropped to 31%, which is lower than expected given his college reputation. So he's getting into the league. He's not hitting the shots as much as he should. He's turning the ball over like a normal rookie would. But if for a point guard, I was really glad to see those 4 assists. But 4 assists doesn't cut it to be a starting point guard in the NBA. Okay. Barely. So obviously, I feel like if we're looking at it from a coaching adjustment and they make pivots starting wise and roles wise, I think maybe the Houston Rockets will continue to lean on their big men in a sense, like go play a bigger game and do something with that to counter work the loss of their point guard and their lack of replacements. And maybe just like it could be a moment where Reed is out there, because defensively, I don't think he's going to be a liability. And that's always like where we want to start off with first. But to how well is he going to play with KD, Amen, Alperen Sengun, like how Steven Adams, how well is Reed going to play with them now that he might take on more minutes with Fred out, right? Let me check the chat. So we have Okay, I'm glad you said this, Bruce, because I immediately thought about Westbrook. I'm not even kidding. That's why I Googled the cat space. I was like, wait, Russ is still on waivers. Can we reunite Steven Adams, Kevin Durant, and Russell Westbrook? But I did look up the cat space, and I wanted to talk with you all about that because they ain't got no money to do this. They would have to drop people from their roster to make it. They're like negative. Okay, they're over the cap by a lot. They're like 40 million over the cap according to the latest trackers. And that puts them in a spot where they don't really have free cash to bring someone in unless they use exceptions or move contracts around or be shady and slimy like the Clippers or and do under the table deals. They really don't have that many options. So because they have fewer options, there's not much to maneuver. Thank God Russell Westbrook has a value that's low. No offense to Russ. Shout out to Russ. We love him. Make sure you go check out my Russell Westbrook video. I talk about that. But I don't see them having to pay that much, and they waiving some guys on their team wouldn't be a bad idea to make some room for Russ, who maybe would sign like a 1 year, $9 million. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it would be tough. Like before we start thinking about all these people, that we could put in the space, I just was curious to see, like, can the Houston Rockets pivot with what they already have? Or will it take them making huge adjustments, maybe with trades or dropping folks on waivers, considering the cap space that doesn't necessarily, there's not too much room to work with here. So really curious to see. The WNBA season is winding down, and I'm going to be putting more NBA because literally once the WNBA season ends, the NBA season begins. We got fantasy basketball, we got the start of the regular season, and I'm just really excited for all of that. And then this is a perfect transition because this may or may not be LeBron James. This may or may not be his last year. And I wanted to talk with you all about this article that I found. It's Juicy League time. And this is Bleacher Report article, okay? And they pulled insiders together. So this is coaches, scouts, executives, whomever. They pulled 20 people together and they had a poll. And they asked them, where will LeBron James be at the start of the 2026-2027 season? Well, 2025 to 2027 season. And then going in maybe for the next season. Because like if you include retirement, let me just paint the picture for you, right? So again, out of 20, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different places that could happen for LeBron. First, the Lakers got the most votes. 7 out of the 20 insiders believe LeBron is going to stay. With LeBron with LA still makes sense. There's familiarity. There's the legacy. When they won the chip, the cute little chip in the bubble and stuff. That was cute. They got the Brandon, and it's the Lakers. Let's do this dance one more time. Let's see. You feel what I'm saying? If things fall right, the Lakers can build around Luka and him. Right? Next up, the second most amount of votes that they got was retirement. Some insiders see that this is his final chapter. There's and the whispers aren't just rumors. People believe there's a real possibility that LeBron's opt out of chasing one more ring. Like he's done chasing a ring. At this point, he's just about to finish his season. And him dropping that like LeBron James King video to me was like the beginning of his goodbye tour. So if I was an insider and they asked me, I would be saying the same thing, retirement. I'm curious to hear what y'all have to say. And I also I think I'm dropping the poll for this at 8 p.m. So there'll be a poll and a chance for you to answer as well. Then the next, so Lakers, then it's retirement. The next highest amount of votes was Cleveland. Okay. And the return home angle. Fans love that narrative. And insiders see it's plausible if LeBron wants comfort, respect, and a possible soft landing, because it's like you started off in Cleveland, then you returned to Cleveland, won a chip, and then you left. It would be kind of cool if you came back to Cleveland and then finished out the rest of your days in Cleveland. That actually makes sense too. It's like right up there for the retirement and him going there. I think he's going to play one more season. And if he did play one more season, I would love for it to be in Cleveland. I think that would be cool. Also, hint, hint, Cleveland didn't make that many off-season moves from what we remember. The biggest sign they did was Lonzo Ball, and they only signed him for 1 year, I think like $9 million. So they have a lot of cap space to work with. I'm very curious. They didn't make that many off-season moves. Were they holding out to possibly afford LeBron? The next two votes was Golden State. Golden State got 2 votes. The Mavericks got 1 vote, and then Miami got 1 vote. So there's some talks with Miami Mavericks. I don't even think that's a real thing. I don't think he's going to go to the Mavericks or Miami. Like, no. Golden State made me look a little like, hold on. Because it's not like I know Stephen Curry was trying at some point. And it would be kind of like, if he were to do that. They could afford it. They absolutely can afford it. Golden State can. But those are just like flashy, possible, just to stir it up, keep it entertaining, keep it alive. But what do y'all think? Scotty Boy said he'll be in the retirement home. Bruce said, I'm wishing that this is his last season. LJ Turner says, I think he retires as a Cav. I'm seeing a lot of stuff. Do y'all think he's going to stay with the Lakers? Like, is that even something we should be entertaining? Based on all the facts that we have at our disposal, he opted out of his 2-year player contract, which is very abnormal for him. And the Lakers, they're giving broke. They're giving, we can't afford this. Just saying. But yeah, so LeBron has had this legacy, obviously. And it's gonna be, I'm very curious to see where he ends up landing. And I think whatever decision he makes, he's given so much to the game that I wouldn't be upset with whatever he decides. You see what I'm saying? Do I think he has a chance at a chip? Absolutely not. At this point, it's just like, how do you want to end your career? How do you want to end your legacy? You see what I'm saying? So I think that's what he's thinking. I don't think he's thinking, how can I win another chip? It's like, okay, where do I want to bless whatever organization with me ending my career here? Does that make sense what I'm saying? Anyway, like, I feel like when they create, I don't know how it works in the NBA. I know in the WNBA, the organization decides who gets statues. So I feel like if he were to end at home, they would give him a statue. I think anybody wouldn't have given him a statue, but I think he would want it to be in Cleveland. So there's a lot of different things I'm thinking about, and we're going to see. Or does he already have a statue? Listen, I don't think he does. Sometimes I can't know everything. But if you know bull, you know ball. Yeah, the Lakers are Luka's team now. 100%. It's Luka's team. And there's already talks about Austin Reeves. He's not coming back. There's a lot of different conversations being had. So, again, which prediction do you think holds the most weight? Will LeBron stay with the Lakers? Will he go to Cleveland? Will he go to Golden State? Or will he retire? Dun dun dun. Definitely love that conversation. Overall, this was a very quick stream, but it was jam-packed, but I just wanted to bring you all up to date on the current WNBA news, talk about the WNBA playoffs tonight, and then kind of start weaving in the NBA. And I'm looking forward to even more headlines, getting dings on my phones. When my eyes go like this, the group chat start heating up. It's the best part. It's the absolute best part. And then when fantasy basketball starts, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be like a kid in a candy store. Oh man, I can't wait. I'll have separate segments for fantasy basketball. I am like separate streams. It won't look like this. I'm so excited. But I really do appreciate you all so very much. Shout out to Bruce at the Format Podcast. Can't wait to do our collab. I'm feeling much better, so I won't sound like a horse on your show. But when we do have our collab, so I'm definitely gonna hit you up soon so we can get something going. But yes, Cheetah's right. 30 days before the NBA season begins. I love the ladies. Don't get me wrong, but NBA really is my favorite time of the year. So I appreciate you all. I'm on the road to 600 subs, and I've been doing more marketing on social media to my biggest disdain. But I have really enjoyed our time here together tonight. I really hope you enjoyed the playoffs. Make sure you tune in 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN, seeing the semifinals, game 2 of the WNBA playoffs, the Minnesota Lynx versus the Phoenix Mercury. And then later on that evening, you'll see the Indiana Fever versus the Las Vegas Aces at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, also on ESPN. And you might find me somewhere drinking a Corona, watching the game. That's what I'll be doing tonight. Both games. So super excited. I really appreciate y'all. Thank you for showing me love. As always, if you know bull, you know ball. And I look forward to spending time with you again soon. Okay, take care.